Welcome back to the Creepy Files. It seems like you've all been hankering for a FNaF VHS video, but I didn't want to make one until I'd found something legitimately unique. And one series kept rising to the top of the suggestion pile, Battington's Harmony and Horror series. And I definitely see why, so let's get straight into the analysis. The video starts as a mascot cleaning guide for an ice cream mascot. Then we see some eyes in the background, and the mascot hand becomes covered in blood. He glitches out, disappears, and we hear him wandering through the dark. Then it cuts to a clown figure in the darkness as a baby cries. It starts as a VHS tape of a puppet, which sits out of focus for a while. Then it glitches and we see a dark room at night, with puppets hanging from the walls. Then we can see something outside the window, a figure with yellow eyes. The tape begins distorting more, and the figure sort of fades out and then back in, right outside the door. Then it looks like one of the puppets falls over off the shelf and stands up, getting closer. Then it cuts to a dimly lit face of one of the puppets and speaks through text. I can't feel my arms. I can't feel my legs. Yet I only feel pain. There's something inside me. Something that beats. Like it wants to get out. I want to get out. There's a camera viewing a child's bedroom. A stuffed animal is sitting on the dresser, and we can hear someone putting the child to bed. Then it cuts to a handheld camera with someone breathing heavily and the child crying somewhere. He opens a door, and there's a giant animatronic version of the plush we saw earlier. The creature jump scares the camera, and we cut back to the plush version, which moves up to look at the camera. Then a screaming face fades into the corner. The Ice Cream Man is back. It's a sing-along video with the Ice Cream Man, but then it cuts to a camera viewing the Ice Cream Man in the dark. We can hear an argument between two men. It seems like one of the men has killed his dog and his wife and turned them into quote-unquote monstrosities. He says, "They listen to me now," and then he kills the other man, Arthur. Then we see a hallway with a distorted black figure appearing. It cuts back to the Ice Cream Man sing-along and then back to the dark figure getting closer. Text on screen says, "Come with me." Then it cuts back to the Ice Cream Man and the text "Behind you" appears. It cuts back to the hallway, empty now, with the Ice Cream Man appearing in the corner. First, there's an ad for the new Henry puppet doll. Then it cuts to the puppet singing. It then fades to the puppet laying on the ground with the illumination of a car passing by. Back to the puppet singing again, and then back to the darkness, this time with the door opening behind him. Then it cuts back to the puppet singing again, this time with hollow black eyes. Back to the darkness, this time we see the Ice Cream Man hovering over the puppet. Singing again, and then the Ice Cream Man opens his mouth and screams, and we can see there's a face inside of his mouth. Then it cuts to the puppet again, this time with his head removed, and we can see some sort of meat creature standing next to it. Then we see the puppet with the text and voice saying,
"My daddy loves me. He loves me so. Even if he beats me though. Can I have a toy? No. He says, you are a bad boy. Go to your room. He says, I'll surprise you at night. Good night."
It starts with an opening card for Sophia the Singing Marionette. It cuts to a view of the puppet in a red room, and it introduces itself, before cutting to a creepy spotlight with a strange baby doll thing crawling across the floor, standing, running in a circle, before the text "Mama" comes on screen. Then we see the Ice Cream Man again, and he bashes his head against the wall, cutting to a broken and bloody mask in the dark. Whatever is wearing the mask, probably the doll we saw earlier, takes it off, and we see a crying child's face. Then it cuts to a view of the clown talking. The audio is of the guy from earlier, the one who killed Arthur, trying to lure one of his kids out of hiding. Then we hear him get attacked. We see the doll again, and a yes-no option appears. If we choose no, we see the puppet's face close up, while a girl sings eerily in the background. Its mouth opens and a gross tentacle thing lunges at the camera. Then we see a very creepy clown smiling at the camera. If we choose yes, then we see a puppet in the darkness as well, with the singing, but this time it gets close to the camera and then fades out. The final video so far, Good Boy, starts as an ad from M&A Harmony Toys for a Stitch Buddy toy, a creepy doll plush that we've seen before. It can talk, laugh, and sing. It keeps bringing up keeping secrets as well. Then it transfers to a tape in the dark, where the clown/Arthur's killer is testing a Stitch Buddy named Bato. He asks it to stand and it grows really big. Then the doorbell rings and he tells Bato to stay right there. After a moment of silence, Bato turns to the camera before the power goes out and it leaves. Then it slowly rises up from below the camera. Then there's a child's voice as the regular-sized Stitch Buddy slowly turns to look at the camera. A lot happened here, but the story itself is pretty self-explanatory in my view, so let's take a look at my interpretation. Quick note, since the recording of this video, a new tape has come out. The only thing I can gather from it at this point is that it confirms a suspicion I already had, that the clown is Arthur's brother, and the two of them are the M and the A of M&A Harmony Toys. Alright, moving on. The clown, the guy who killed Arthur, is the co-owner of M&A Harmony Toys. Unhappy with his dog, marriage, and kids, and feeling a bit experimental, he begins using living creatures to make his toys seem extra alive. Eventually, he takes it out on his dog, Bato, killing it and turning it into a living version of the Stitch Buddy. He begins doing this with more and more living things. He kills his wife, although I'm not sure what he turns her into. He turns his son into one of those Henry dolls, which we can see here. He turns his daughter into Sophia the Marionette, and Arthur into the Ice Cream Man. However, his hubris gets the best of him. Although he thinks he can control them, his creations end up attacking him, presumably killing him. Now, while there are definitely parallels between the actual FNaF story and this story, one of the things that I think is really uniquely horrifying about this is the fact that I don't think these are just the souls of his victims. Think about this image and the line, "There's something beating." I think his victims are still alive, fused with the puppets and mascots, but somehow still alive. Hearts beatings, brains working, but in too much torment to understand what's fully going on. They only feel anger and anguish now. What did you think about this episode of the Creepy Files? Now, I probably won't make another FNaF VHS video until either the new Squimpus tapes comes out or the new Walton Files, but I do have a few others coming soon. So I'll see you all then. Tell me what you thought about this episode in the comments, and suggest what I should cover next on my Twitter or Instagram. Also follow me on Twitch because I've got more stuff going on over there. See you all next time.
Osama bin Laden.